Well, 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 look what the cat dragged in.
Toodaloo, Mr. FedEx man. What have we got here? Oh, baby! Some more Vinegar Syndrome. I like the sound of that. What's all this shit on the table? Alright, let's pop this baby open.
What you got there, McLuke?
Oh, this? Oh, it ain't nothing. It's just a new lampshade. That's all.
Uh-huh.
Now, one more step, Luke Mick. I'm opening this Vinegar Syndrome box right this instant, whether you like it or not.
That package was meant to be opened in front of a live studio audience!
No, it's not, you fucking liar.
That's it, McLuke. I hereby banish you to the boiler room.
Oh, Mick, why? A spleen. No, it's not fair. No, Mick, no.
Now that that's taken care of, let's start this Vinegar Syndrome unboxing. So, as you just read, the first thing we're going to be going through here is the November package titles. I was a halfway subscriber this year for the first time ever, and it was a whole hell of a lot of fun, and I'm going to quickly run through the final package that they'll be sending subscribers like me.
Horror and exploitation only.
For the year of 2020. This is the last one. Starting right off the top, we have Forgotten Gialli Volume 2. I have seen 2 of the 3 films in the previous volume of their Forgotten Gialli series, and even though, what was that one called? Trauma? That movie was kind of shitty, but it had a pretty interesting commentary track on it, and the film had enough unique qualities to it that makes it a memorable experience. Like, I still remember a lot about that film, even though I didn't really like it. The Killer is One of 13 was a lot of fun, super fast-paced, whodunit giallo film, but I've really enjoyed the previous Gialli box set, so I'm totally down for more, especially when they are this beautifully crafted. You take the top off and each film is in its own individual clear Vinegar Syndrome case there. And that is Forgotten Gialli Volume 2. We also have Dimensiones Ocultas, which is directed by Ruben Galindo Jr., who directed Cemetery of Terror and Grave Robbers, 2 films that also very recently came out on Vinegar Syndrome. I hear this is the best out of the 3. Have yet to watch it, because it's brand new, just came in the mail, and most of these films I've never seen before. And the English translated title for this film is Don't Panic. So here's the inner art here. It's the same as the slipcover, but this is supposed to be another really fun Mexican horror. I don't know too much about it, but I do know who made it, and he's a pretty competent horror director, if I do say so myself. We also have Fade to Black, which I know a lot of collectors and a lot of Vinegar Syndrome fans were really looking forward to, and I think just horror fans in general, because this is a pretty famous cult slasher from the 80s. This one came with an extra slipcover, so there are 2 different designs. I actually prefer the alternate one. There's just a lot more going on. I like the classic Bela Lugosi monster poster and all the other posters around here. And I think this one is pretty much just the original poster and theatrical artwork. But I haven't seen this film. I hadn't even heard of it until Vinegar Syndrome started hyping it up, but I am very interested in it as a fan of horror. Another one here I don't have much to say about. It's Silent Madness in 3D. This is another 80s slasher horror movie, and it actually is a pretty interesting release from Vinegar Syndrome because it is their first foray into Blu-ray 3D, a very obscure format at this point in time. Hopefully James Cameron will be able to light the fuse on 3D movies again. Not that I love 3D movies, but it is a format that in a way I miss, and I don't want to see it like fade off into obscurity and disappear forever. Don't have much to say about this. I like the slipcover though. Lots of nice shades of colors there. And the last one from their November package that I have is The Beastmaster. This is from the director of the Phantasm films. What is his name? Don Cos... Oh man, why am I forgetting his name?
His name's Don Coscarelli. Now will you please let me out of here?
This is a special Vinegar Syndrome release, as many of you probably know, because it is their first VSU release, which is going to be a new sub-label, kind of like VSA. But this box is so beautifully and perfectly designed. It's so colorful. Everything here pops. There's a nice magnetic part that holds this whole thing together. There was so much effort, care, and love put into this set for what I assume to be a pretty epic 80s fantasy action movie. So I very much look forward to seeing The Beastmaster. This box right here is
A beast.
in itself. So very cool release. It is so thick. Look at that spine. I wish my freaking spine was that thick. Maybe my spine is that thick. I don't know. I'm not a big anatomy guy. For the next section of this video, it's going to be a little bit more brief, a little more quick. I only have 2 films of the Fun City editions. Their first release, Alphabet City, and what I think is their second release, I Start Counting. Alphabet City has a very looking slipcover with lots of purples, reds, and pinks, a little bit of white and black in there too. This is an 80s, I think it's a gangster film set in New York City. It's supposed to have a lot of neon in it and a pretty sweet, typical 80s synthy score. An underrated gem of the gangster genre from what they explain on the website about this film. I don't know too much else about it, but I knew that it's a special release, and I knew I wanted to get it and have the opportunity to watch it on Blu-ray when I get around to it. And this other film released under the Fun Cities editions is actually a film that I'm more interested in. It's called I Start Counting. It's a late 60s era British film about a serial killer psychopath who is killing and or stalking schoolgirls, teenage schoolgirls, and the film centers on one girl in particular, I'm pretty sure, as the main character. She thinks that she may know who the killer is, and she may have a close relationship with this person, supposedly. I think that's what I read about it. I usually don't try to read too much about films before I watch them, just because I like to go in with kind of a clean slate and just be surprised by the way the film plays out. But this one really interests me. I love murder mysteries, and this just seems like a film that's really up my alley. I had never heard about it until I saw it on Vinegar Syndrome's website, and I knew that I really wanted to grab it, so it was one of my instant buys at the beginning of the sale because it just sounded like such an interesting film to me, and that is I Start Counting. Alright, the next section here is going to be the Vinegar Syndrome Archive releases, the VSA releases. I have seen 2 VSA films in my times. One of them was really shit. Dr. Jekyll's Dungeon of Death, the first one I ever bought at their halfway to Black Friday sale last May. That movie, I'm not upset that I own it. I'm not upset that I watched it. I got a little something out of it, but it's really bad. If you don't want to buy and watch movies that you just really hate and never want to watch again, don't go for Dr. Jekyll's Dungeon of Death, but definitely go for LA Wars. My buddy picked this one up, and we watched it at his place, and it was fucking awesome. This is a mid-90s or early 90s, 93 action movie, sort of in the vein of Lethal Weapon or Die Hard. The amount of times they say balls in this movie is just hilarious. We were cracking up. It is such a fun, stupid, bad action undercover cop movie. LA Wars has some truly terrible performances that are so funny. It doesn't outstay its welcome at all. It's 92 minutes. It's pretty quick. It's a harmless, dumb action movie, and it was such an exciting, fun time. And this is edition 3984 out of 4,000. LA Wars, I'd highly recommend this one. really fun fucking time. Hell Riders, I don't really know anything about this film at all, except that it's called Hell Riders, and I know what the cover looks like, and I know what the alternate cover looks like. It sort of looks like a Mad Max type action movie. You got guys with motorcycles and magnum pistols and chains and mustaches and trucker caps. It definitely looks like a Mad Max type of rip-off movie. It came out in 1984, and this is number 2410, limited of 3,000. Not much else to say about Hell Riders, but here it is. I also grabbed Necromancer. This is one of the more recent Vinegar Syndrome archive releases. I think it's more of a horror movie. I mean, it's demonic forces from the depths of hell. And, you know, I don't know too much about this one. This girl's got some green glowing eyes. She must be some sort of possessor of some kind. And this is number 2383 out of 4,000. That is Necromancer. Not much else to say about this one. Of course, I also picked up Savage Dawn. This movie I've heard really great things about. It looks really sweet. I love both pieces of artwork they have here. They both look awesome. It also looks like kind of a Mad Max style movie, but almost a little bit more Escape from New York based on the, I don't know, the more street punk look of these guys, and there's an actual artillery tank in there. But this, just based off the cover, which is really all I know about Savage Dawn, it looks like a very promising action film. And when did this one come out? 85. Oh, Lance Henriksen is in it. I see his face right there. And George Kennedy. And Karen Black. Oh my god. This film is star-studded. I'm really excited for Savage Dawn. That's sweet. And this is number 3,754 out of 4,000. Savage Dawn. God, I'm really looking forward to this one now. This sounds awesome. Sweet. Savage Dawn. And the last two VSA releases are the brand new ones that they put on the website for this Black Friday sale. The first one here is Martial Law 1 and 2. I don't know much about these films. They very much to me look like LA Wars type films. I'm assuming they're about undercover cops and going on missions and taking down drug lords and stuff. It also gives me some major, like, Miami Vice vibes just because of the blue and pink neon. And these came out in the early 90s, 1990 and 1991. So that's all I have to say about Martial Law. Oh, and I shouldn't forget to say this. Number 653 of 4,000. If it's anything like what I'm assuming it's like, LA Wars, then these should be a hit. And the last of the VSA titles I grabbed, which was basically everything that was still in stock on their website as far as the VSA label goes, is one I am so excited for. I was so psyched to hear that the rumors were true, that Action USA is now on Vinegar Syndrome Archive. I want to watch this so bad. Maybe this doesn't surprise you, but I am a fan of Red Letter Media. They're a very popular YouTube channel, and in their Best of the Worst series, they watched this film, and all of the footage they shared in that video made this look
completely awesome.
Car crashes, people falling off buildings, houses exploding. Like, the title Action USA seems to fully encompass what this film is. I'm so excited for it. I think it's going to be super exciting and just a non-stop, joyous, shitty action movie. I can't wait to watch Action USA. Super excited that this one is on Blu-ray now. Now we're moving on to the AGFA, or the AGFA as I like to say, or the American Genre Film Archive releases. First one up is Limbo. This was probably, out of all the AGFA releases, this is the one that caught my eye the most. On the back and on Vinegar Syndrome's website, it does describe this as being like a what if David Lynch and Trent Reznor, 9 Inch Nails, got together and made a shot-on-video, low-rent movie. And that's definitely a very positive thing to say about this film. I did pop it in and watch it, and watched quite a few of the special features, which really enhanced this film for me. Watching it just blind like I did and just putting it in your player, it's a little bit under an hour long. It's a film that is very rough around the edges. It was filmed in the late 90s by a woman named Tina Kraus, who has a ton of acting credits, but this is one of the only films that she directed herself. And it was shot on video. The audio quality is really rough. The performances are really awful, and the video quality is also so poor because it is shot on video. It's a very amateurish film, but I think that Tina Kraus as a director was able to create something very visually and auditorily unique, because the music and sound design, even though it's choppy because it had such low technical, I don't know, quality to it, it's a very unique film. It's a very maddening descent into hell. I said the performances aren't very good, which they aren't, but that doesn't really matter because this film is more of an experience film. There isn't really much of a narrative to hold on to. It's definitely a rough film that's not perfect. The technicals are very poor, but there is a lot of really cool stuff going on in it, and especially after watching these special features, some of the commentary track, I really started to appreciate this film even more than I had initially. It's not for everybody, but if what I've described sounds interesting, I definitely recommend checking this one out. It's a very cool release, and that is Limbo. I also grabbed Scary Tales with the slipcover, of course. I haven't watched this one yet, but this was another shot on video, early to mid 90s horror movie shot in Baltimore. And again, it's probably not a film that's going to be technically perfect or maybe not even very competent by most means, but I think it's going to be a very interesting film to watch. And as someone who just makes videos on YouTube like this and occasionally dips his toe in like making shorts here and there, like I know that it's hard to make professional looking work. I know none of my stuff looks that way. So I just really appreciate it and respect when people really go for it, even if they don't have the equipment they need or the budget they need or even the technical skill or knowledge. As long as they have an idea and they're trying to create something and they go for it, I think that's very admirable. So I'm really interested in Scary Tales. Did I say Scary Stories right away? I don't remember. But that is another AGFA release that I grabbed. Up next with the AGFA releases, I had to grab Bat Pussy. This is a 1970s era Batman porno spoof movie. Really not much else to say about this one. It's pretty self-explanatory. Very interesting Blu-ray release, something that I just had to have. I'm very curious about this. I'm sure it'll be hilarious. And to wrap up the AGFA releases, I have Drug Stories, the Scare Film Archives Volume 1. This came onto Vinegar Syndrome's website at their halfway to Black Friday sale. It really popped out to me on the page, but I didn't grab it and I didn't really know what it was. But soon I found out that it is actually a collection, I believe, the sort of anti-drug, anti-alcohol, substance abuse videos made in the...
I know you're about to say 80s and 90s, Luke Mick, but I just have to point out, you are wrong. These are from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, loser.
Yeah, this is just a really interesting oddity to have on Blu-ray, preserving something, you know, of that nature. I'm very interested in it. I'm sure they're going to be really funny. And how long is this? How many are on there? Oh my god, 288 minutes. That is a lot of content. I had no idea there was so much on here. That's, I don't know if I'll ever watch all of them, maybe. Definitely not in one sitting. Okay, that's cool. Drug Stories, you know, pretty self-explanatory once I explained it. Alright, so we are here, the final stretch. These are all of just the other side normal Vinegar Syndrome releases that I grabbed. All of them are limited edition slipcover versions. Something about me that maybe you know, or maybe you could just tell by watching my videos if you've stuck around for a while, is that I am very much a completionist. I always have been, whether it comes to schoolwork or playing a video game and doing the side missions or anything. And of course with collecting Blu-rays, if I don't have the slip, I just feel like, it's not complete. You know, I don't have the full package, and that's just like something in my head where I can't, it just bugs the hell out of me. It just bothers the hell out of me if I miss opportunities, limited edition opportunities. So we're going to go through a pretty big stack here. I don't want to talk too much about these films just because a lot of them, honestly, I don't know too much about. I'll just kind of comment here and there if I feel the need to. We're on the last leg of this journey. Let's race to the finish line, starting with Witch Trap. Not my favorite looking of the slipcovers. It's a little bit bland. The images on Vinegar Syndrome's website for this film look pretty sweet. I'm excited for the film. Punk Vacation. Punkation. This seems like a pretty self-explanatory film. Looks like some sort of exploitation, Mad Max style, action movie. I could be wrong though. Flesh-Eating Mothers. This has been recommended by a few of you out there who watch the videos, so I thank you for that. I very much look forward to it. I had almost pulled the trigger on it during the halfway to Black Friday sale, but I held back because I had already purchased so much at that sale. But now I finally went in and actually grabbed Flesh-Eating Mothers, and I like the slipcover. I like the black and the yellow. Another one that has a lot of black and yellow, but a lot more yellow, is Psychic Killer. This is one of the most amazing looking of the slipcovers. It is just it just pops compared to anything else. It's also very glossy. Some of these have a more matte finish, but this one's very shiny and glossy, and it's just a very sweet looking slipcover. I really like the spine as well. Really pops on the shelf, not just from the front. Not much else to say about the film on its own because I haven't seen it and I'm not too familiar with it, but that is Psychic Killer. Party Line looks like some sort of 80s thriller slasher sort of thing. I don't know if a bunch of people die in it or if it's more of a stalker movie. Not sure, but that is Party Line. The Telephone Book. I'm really interested in this one. First off, I love the baby blue tone of the cover here with the kind of gray-white imprint on the front. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in this image. There's a little guy with a pig nose mask on. There's a girl with a blindfold and a phone. This is the little dial of a phone. It just seems like a very unique case. And the back says, this is the story of a girl who falls in love with the world's greatest obscene phone call. I think this film is about a woman getting a sort of prank call or some sort of sexually charged phone call by some random man. And after the call, she becomes obsessed with tracking this person down and finding them. This just seems like a really interesting release to me. It's a pretty old Vinegar Syndrome release, 1971, and it is one of the more higher rated of a lot of the Vinegar Syndrome releases that I've seen on Letterboxd. I think it was sitting at a 3.5, which is very solid. And this slipcover and this edition of the film has been in stock on their website for what feels like a really long time. So it seems like people are not really interested in this film, but I think it sounds fascinating. So that's The Telephone Book. If what I explained to you sounds cool, then I'm happy to have, opened your eyes to The Telephone Book. I'll watch it, I'll review it on Letterboxd, and we'll see where it goes from there. Night Owl, don't have much to say about this. A horror movie of some kind. Pretty sure it's filmed in black and white. 1993, that's actually a lot more modern than I thought it was. I would have assumed it would have been in the 80s. The Passing, another one that I grabbed, because it was one of the limited editions that I did not yet have, with the slipcover, of course, and I'm pretty sure it did sell out during the sale. I really like the back here. Lots of stringy colors on the back. Not much else to say about this. I think, though, that it's something about World War II veterans going through some sort of procedure. So that is The Passing. Hopefully it's an interesting sci-fi movie. We'll see. I also grabbed Malabimba or Malabimba. I'm not sure exactly how that title or how her name, I'm assuming it's her name, is supposed to be pronounced. But this is actually... I gotta censor it. You're not allowed to see that. I forgot what was hiding on the back there. This is one of the pornographic films that Vinegar Syndrome has released, but it also has horror elements in it as well. It's known to be a sort of horror pornography, from what I understand. And, even though it is porn, it sounds like an interesting release. So I grabbed Malabimba, put you down there, duh. Zombie Island Massacre, another one that I was looking at grabbing during the halfway to Black Friday sale, but did not, and luckily it was still in stock for this sale, so I decided, well, might as well go in on it, why not? And, it looks like a bad zombie movie on an island, I'm assuming.
Have a fun-filled vacation.
Zombie Island Massacre. Malibu High, I'm getting some major Best Friends vibes from the way that this slipcover is designed. Best Friends was a Vinegar Syndrome release. I think it was in the June package. That was a good drama. That was a good film, and I'm assuming this film might be a little bit like that. I'm not exactly sure what type of film this is. Maybe it's some sort of exploitation film. It probably is. It's probably just an exploitation film. They make them look like they're a little bit more special than they are, but then you watch them and you're just like, oh, exploitation movie. All right, this one I'm going to censor just a little bit because it is a pretty obscene cover. Whoa! Nightmare Sisters, this was a new slipcover release, but this thing sold fast. I was keeping an eye on a lot of releases towards the end of the sale before the website went down, and goodness, this almost sold out completely. The slipcover design is definitely really nice. The color purple being used here is very pretty. It kind of reminds me of the artwork for the Dial Code Santa Claus release. I wonder if it was the same artist. I'm sure they hire same people here and there. Okay, I have two more here. Lust in the Dust. This one features John Waters' collaborator, Lady Divine. It looks like a sort of Western comedy. Anything with Divine in it is usually pretty awesome in some way or another. Definitely fits in with the mission and the types of films that Vinegar Syndrome puts out, it seems. And yeah, I don't have much else to say about this one other than that Divine's in it. That's awesome. That's a great reason to grab it. And that is Lust in the Dust. And the last one is Don't Go in the Woods. Don't have too much to say about this movie. I'm assuming it's an 80s era slasher, 1981, so kind of at the beginning of the big ol' slasher boom right after Friday the 13th. And yeah, the slipcover's fine. I don't have too much to say about it. It's a little simplistic, but you get a little bit of a reflective jelly silhouette man there, warning you not to go in the woods alone. That is that. And that is everything that I bought during the Vinegar Syndrome Black Friday. I want to thank all of you who are still with me, watching up until this point. I really mean it when I say this. Thank you so much for just being here and supporting the channel. Also, thank you to Nancy for helping me out with the skit in the beginning of this video. Let me know down in the comments if there are releases that you were really excited for that were announced during the sale, the titles you picked up, maybe things that you unfortunately were not able to get your hands on. I know that the Amityville box set was a big hot item that sold out within minutes, as well as a couple of extra copies of Rad on 4K. So, you know, if you have sad stories and you want to share, let us know and we can help you through these times. Or if you have very happy stories and you're excited about your package that's on the way or maybe already arrived, let us know down below as well. That's all I have for you. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you again soon, and I'll talk to you later. Better?